Hello, and welcome back to Homemade Simple. I'm really glad that you decided to stop in today. I hope you're having a great week so far, and I hope that I can add a little bit of joy and happiness to your week as well. It has been raining here all week long, and so I thought that this week was a perfect time for a video full of homemade recipes. When it's raining outside, sometimes we have a little more time to spend in the kitchen, and so that's what this video is all about. I took my camera along and recorded the meals as I prepared them for my family, and I wanted to share those recipes with you as well. This is a little bit of a different format. The focus is going to be on the food and on the preparation of all of the meals. So I would love to hear your comments and opinions about this kind of video in the comment section below. These meals are all simple, very affordable, and they are great for the entire family. And I'm excited to share them with you and your family as well. First up is taco soup. This is a go-to recipe for me throughout the year, but mainly during the fall and winter seasons. I decided to start it a little early since the leaves have really started to change the beautiful colors here in Alabama, and the temperatures have really started to cool down, especially in the evenings. So I brown the ground beef. I usually use about a pound in the Dutch oven, and so I'm able to only have one dirty dish by the end of this meal. I add a jar of tomatoes and a package of organic corn, and then it's time to add the seasonings. I'm not very good at using measurements whenever I cook, but I use about a quarter cup of dry milk powder, and then a tablespoon or so of cumin, chili powder, and dill weed. I add salt to taste, and then replace the lid and let it simmer for about 30 minutes to an hour. This is a really forgiving recipe, so you can let it simmer for as long as you need it to. You can also cook it quickly in the Instant Pot or cook it on a slow all-day simmer in the crock pot. I did mean to add beans to this. I normally do, but I didn't have any, and it sort of slipped my mind to make some ahead of time. So this recipe is good with or without beans, but we normally eat it with a can of black beans added. I like to put some sour cream, cheese, and cilantro on the top. We also sometimes have it with either tortilla chips or with corn chips, your choice, but it's filling either with or without those garnishments. Breakfast for supper is something that we do commonly here, mainly because we have so many eggs, and it is a cheap, inexpensive way for us to have a nutritious meal full of protein without all of the cost. I decided to have some French toast this week since I had some bread that I had already made. French toast is one of those easy, simple, everyone knows how to make it recipes, but it sure is one of my favorites. French toast is so good by itself, but it is even better with some maple syrup, and a lot of times we'll put powdered sugar on the top. I didn't do that this time, but it's definitely a good addition. Next up is a simple but delicious recipe of roasted chicken and vegetables. This is another one-pot meal which makes easy cleanup, and that's one of my favorite parts about this recipe. I just began by chopping up some root vegetables, onions, and potatoes. I didn't put carrots in here this time, but that's definitely a good addition. Layer them on the bottom of the Dutch oven. After you rinse the chicken, put it in the Dutch oven and pat it dry, and then spread on some olive oil. Make sure you get all of the skin nice and coated, and then add some seasonings. I added salt and pepper and also some fresh rosemary. Place it in the oven and bake it at 350 degrees Fahrenheit with the lid on for 45 minutes. And then I remove the lid and raise the temperature to 400 and bake it 20 more minutes. Now it's time to flip the chicken over, season this side, and bake it uncovered for another 20 minutes or so until the skin is nice and brown. This is such a simple recipe, but it's so good and so filling. I decided we needed dessert on this night as well, so I threw together a strawberry dump cake. I just put some frozen strawberries in the bottom of the iron skillet, mixed in a can of crushed pineapple, and mixed together a cake mix with a stick of butter. I sprinkled that on top and baked it for about 45 minutes at 350. The next two recipes I was going to make for the week needed boiled chicken. The Instant Pot has been a game changer for boiled chicken and chicken broth in my house because I can take a frozen chicken and cook it really quickly. It goes from frozen to ready to use in a recipe in 2 hours or less. When it's done, I have a pot full of wonderful, nutritious chicken broth as well as the cooked chicken. I use a strainer to separate the chicken broth and the chicken. That way there's not a lot of chunks in my chicken broth, and it will make for a smoother recipe for the next meal that I have coming up. Chicken enchiladas is one of my favorite meals that I make at home. And the reason why I love it so much is this homemade enchilada sauce. I'll put a link in the description box below for where I found this recipe. I have modified it just a little for our taste, but it is the best enchilada sauce that I have ever had. In my opinion, it's even better than the enchilada sauces at the Mexican restaurants in our area. I heat up the olive oil in a pot and then add the flour. I mix that around and let it cook for a minute or so, and then I add the chili powder, cumin, salt, garlic powder, and cook that for another minute or so, making sure that it's whisked and all completely incorporated. After the spices are well incorporated, it's time to add the chicken broth. Stir it until there's no clumps, and then you'll want to let it simmer on the stovetop for probably 15 minutes until it thickens. While the enchilada sauce was simmering, it was a perfect time for me to debone the chicken, set a little aside for another recipe, and then shred the remainder for the filling of the enchiladas. For the enchilada filling, I pour about half of the sauce into the shredded chicken and mix it until it is completely incorporated. Now it's time to fill the flour tortillas with the chicken enchilada sauce mixture. I accidentally got the large flour tortillas this week. It would have done a lot better if I had gotten the smaller 6-inch tortillas, so I would recommend using the smaller round tortillas instead of the larger. It still tastes really good this way, but it's just a little too much tortilla and too little chicken. After you've filled all the tortillas with the chicken enchilada sauce mixture, then it's time to spread the remainder of the enchilada sauce on top of the tortillas and top with cheese. Bake it in a 350-degree oven for about 20 minutes until the cheese is nicely melted and the tortillas have crisped a bit. I top the enchiladas with sour cream and diced tomatoes and add some fresh avocado on the side. These are so good and you should definitely give them a try. The last recipe for this video is chicken and rice soup. This is a simple, easy go-to recipe, especially for Sundays whenever we'll be at church and come home hungry and ready for lunch. This is something I can throw in the Instant Pot really quick on a Sunday morning, and then it will be all ready to go whenever we get home from church. You can use all kinds of vegetables for this recipe. This week I had fresh carrots on hand, so that's what I used. I poured in the chicken broth that I had made from the Instant Pot chicken the day before and then added the rice. I seasoned it with salt, pepper, and a little tarragon, and then add the diced chicken that I had saved from the night before. set it to cook in the Instant Pot while we're gone, and when we get home, it's ready to eat. I love that this is a simple yet nutritious but very affordable Sunday meal. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, I hope that you will give it a thumbs up, and also while you're there, I hope that you will click the subscribe button. Also, the bell icon right beside it will give you notifications when new content is added to my channel. And don't forget, when you try these recipes in your home, to come back and leave a comment letting me know how your family enjoyed these meals as well. I hope you have a wonderful week. I'm so thankful that you are here. I love you, and I will see you again next time.